Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 471. Continuing on from where we left off on the magazine series of UFO stories, mysteries of the universe.
Hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love. I'm hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love.
Dark side. Let the fate control your body. In the beginning, there was written.
Come follow me down this step hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love.
Good to be back. Should be back at the desktop now. I was just typing up the side messages. Yeah, it was a wee bit quiet. And already I've got coughing. So yeah, this is 471, and we're just doing part 3 of the magazines. And I just found out that Part 2 one was actually the last lot of magazines, 37 to 50 something. It was actually a wee bit more, 56 I think it was. It's about 12-13 magazines per folder. So they were stacked on the shelf wrong. So I've gone back to binder 3 and binder 2 I mean, which is really part 2. And binder 1, I think we started also with 37 onwards. So part 1, part 2 is the last folder. So it doesn't really matter what sequence they're in, as long as we do them all. See if there's any really good stories in them that hasn't made it to the internet. We have found a few interesting stories which are not well known. The one about Cooper, I asked Rob about it and he said that he knew about it, and I said well, they're saying now that it's a fake story that was published over 40 years ago. He said he doesn't know. Anyway, better carry on. Part 3, I'm not sure if anyone's shown up yet. Probably won't get any mods again. Let's see. Might be a wee bit too early. Oh no, should be about right. Should be late afternoon to evening, depending where you are in America. So there should be people around. It's just that people are not interested in real stuff. Not interested in this kind of stuff, it seems, anyway. So probably wasted my time anyway, but yeah, I don't mind having a look at the books again and enjoying it myself. So I got the camera hooked up Now it's just a matter of am I ready to reposition it all, because once I put the book up I can't get to my keyboard easy to say down the side. Probably forgot to type up my super chats are active, and also my website where you can find Discord if you want to join our UFO group, research group. So or donate, super chats, donations, and other options for donating are here, plus Discord chat to me off air. Okay, it should come up on the side now. Pin it to the top and we're ready to go. Lots of things to do. Now the fun juggling the book and the camera. Here we go. So what's first up? A blur. Yeah, so what's it say there? Where was the Isle of Atlantis? Well, some of their theories say that it was New Zealand. Because they reckon we're part of a lost continent. And most of it's underwater at the moment, apart from New Zealand, of course, which is an interesting theory. You can see it on the undersea map. So, they talked about this place where it was circular rings. You can see there's two circular rings. So where are they saying it is? We do get rings like that around some sort of those coral islands, right? I'm surprised that the Saudis haven't actually made that a fake Atlantis up, right? They could just go for the maps here and make it like a holiday thing, call it Atlantis, and then they could put it out in the sea there, but they're building anything with sand and oil money. It's not in the Atlantic Ocean. There you go. So that's what they were saying back 40 years ago, right? It's probably developed a wee bit more since then. Now, there was the story from those remote viewer guys that said Atlantis is over this side of the Pacific. They believed they were drilling down to the Earth's core to tap into endless energy. And there was a UFO that was hovering above the island, apparently, in their remote viewing. So they may have been the ones with the UFO technology. But they had a base under the sea, which makes perfect sense because we see a lot of USOs coming from the sea. So could Atlanteans be the original people of Earth? But they reckon what their drilling caused an explosion to the atmosphere, like all the atomic bombs in the Earth going off at the same time, that it killed most of the people on the surface. And they carried living underground. Whether they died out, we don't know, but maybe they could be part of what we're seeing, which is another interesting theory. I reckon if you send a deep sea submarine crew to where they say the remote viewing, the coordinates, that you should be able to dig into the base down there and explore it. A thing from Molten Hell, So what's this about the Egyptians? They have something about Atlantis as well. A monkey. It's kind of a weird one, isn't it? The eye in the sky, monkey, and an Egyptian or a human bending over. Maybe the monkeys were supreme gods. But maybe that's a Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoots are the ones. What's that there? So, it looks like no one wants to join us today. We'll just carry on. These are actually quite popular, these episodes on alt media. It's just YouTube, it's not popular. And what have we got this time? Nice looking airship. R101, the dead captain. Okay. Not sure what that's about. Have you heard of the R101? Well, let's find out. Fiery End. Is that the Hindenburg? That's the only one I knew that blew up, but maybe there were others. That's a good reason not to use hydrogen. Stick with the helium ones. But I suppose that back then they didn't know how to get helium out of rocks. It's a later technology. Well, helium, they could just take it from water, right, by splitting it with electricity. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Might have to be a research one or not. Too big for the engine capacities, they're saying there. That sounds like a different thing. Let's see what comes up in the search. Although I can't quite read the keyboard now. 101 airship. Never heard of it before. Well, that's in my magazines. Obviously, didn't pay much attention to it. Yeah, ship. Gotta lean over the book. Hello, who's with us? We have arrived to the channel. Yeah, so you have. Yeah, just trying to find out about this mysterious airship. I never heard of it before. Found in the old magazines. There it goes. What's it say there on the Wikipedia? Looks like the one. Almost looks like it's got solar cells on it. Certainly not the Hindenburg, is it? And it's British. Was one pair of British rigged airships completed in 1929. Wasn't the year the Titanic went south as well, wasn't it? Or was that 1920? And then it sunk. As part of the British government program to develop several airships capable of service and long distance. So they should bring those back, because they had design flaws using hydrogen. It doesn't mean that helium ones should not be considered now. Back then they didn't think of it. So why did it crash? Loss of life was more than 36 killed. Would it be... you think everybody could survive that though? Say you had like the passenger pod that's underneath, right? Or even if you build it into the middle of the airship now, because you've got helium in individual cells. If that come down, it would simply bounce on the ground, wouldn't it? But what you could do is have it release from underneath the airship if it's coming down and they've got no control, and then have the rest of it have automatic parachutes, but like they do with SpaceX now. So were they saying it was sabotage in the book here? The dead captain speaks. Oh, there's too much reading there. They're quite big, aren't they? That's the framework around it. Well, actually in it. Engines, they said they were underpowered. So it looks like the engines might caught fire. The Wikipedia's got a heap on it. Whoa, it's fairly big. And yes, it did come down and burn all up. Final flight. Gone. So was it a lightning strike or what? Why can't people just give us bullets? Crashed because of this. Instead we got a page of reading. Shut the engine down. Have been flying 25 miles. Come on, what's the answer? Which logical situation received? Winds up to 50 miles an hour. So, but it doesn't explain why it caught fire. Come on. As the ship went into a second what? Dive. Okay. His seat in the smoking room. Well, you should have a smoking room if you've got a hydrogen above you. And that might be one problem there. Inspect P speeds. Of course, the ship lose. So here it is. All those words. So the wind was too great. The engines weren't powerful enough. The airship started losing dynamic lift and adopting those altitudes. Current estimate impact speed was 13 miles per hour. Then it must have caught fire then. It's not very clear, some of these Wikipedias. Anyway, on to the next thing. They've got a model in the court there, by the looks of it. And there you can get things like that, flies around, RC controlled. Not cheap. By any means. What's that? The early aviators. Yeah, what's up, chaps? Upper class. Anyway, British airship. Don't hear about that very often, do you? Another disaster. Alright, what have we got now? Psychic detectives. Yeah. He looks like one. What's it say there? Electronic version of the Senna card experiment to test the powers of precognition. The Senna cards are the ones with the squiggly lines, triangles and squares, isn't it? What's he got down here? Come on, keep focused. The camera, that is. What's it say up here? The Dutch clairvoyant wasn't successful. Location missing people. How about that? Never heard of that before. I thought most of them were debunked. Remarkable psychic, huh? So I wonder if we can find him online. 24-year-old daughter. So I suppose we're going to talk about stories where they found her. Let's see. One of hundreds of such cases that were investigated and kept on file. So we got the holster files. What next? The Crosset files, where they go over his old cases of missing people that he didn't get. Obviously, there's got to be some misses, isn't there? That kind of looks like Dr. Hynek, doesn't it? Helping the police. Star performer. Oh. On to the next story. People, plants, and PSI. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not too sure about the science of this. I suppose they measure micro voltages in the leaves or plants when they start thinking bad things. Which would mean that there is some sort of spooky action at a distance in the form of energy being converted from the human brain into probably the ether, as Tesla would call it. and other things can tap into it, including psychics. So that's might be why they can pull out information out of thin air, because it might be in the ether to do with their environment where they're at, to do with the atoms and dark matter. Maybe dark matter atoms, actually. I think there'll be some science to it. Whether plants have got a nervous system, they haven't got a central nervous system, doesn't mean that maybe they don't feel pain when you eat them. But humans have got to eat something, if it's not animals. It looks like it's glitching a bit here. Come on, wireless, what's going on? That's the problem with the phone one. Using Wi-Fi. But it is going from here through 2 brick walls, which is pretty good. And back to the wired network, then onto the PC here. So it's not doing too bad. So looks like it slipped here. Well, you don't hear too much about people doing this still today. So have they concluded it was heading nowhere or what? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with that side of things. Yeah. I think the book's sliding down a bit. Let me just slide it up a bit. Ah, the old dot matrix. It's printing like electric variations, like brain waves, but this is from the plant, obviously. So that's what they were doing 40 years ago. Okay, so short history of hauntings again. Okay, so who's he? Come on, stay focused. American novelist. Never heard of him. Short story writer. Dr. Harris. Okay. Ghosts seem to take many different forms. Appear in the most unlikely places, like in the toilets. Yeah, they do. In the bathroom. They haunt all kinds of people. In the loft. And why do they like lofts so much? In the closets. In the closets. What causes them? I think they like the dark and the damp. Makes sense though to be around water bathrooms, because as we know, water is a special element that when it's pure, it's actually a insulator, which means you can put electric wires into it and you won't get shocked. But as soon as you add contaminants in, which could be sweat of your body, then you will start to feel those electric shocks, because it will then travel through the other contaminants in the water to electrocute you see. Dan, you finally arrived. Is it school finished now? Well, what's the time in California there at the moment? I suppose that's where you are, wasn't it? I can't remember. At least we got a moderator in the house. Last time I did this, I got trolled pretty badly and attacked by Dr. Greer fans, which is what I wasn't going to I don't want when I'm doing another topic. And I wasn't talking about Dr. Degree, but they come on and started harassing me, remember? And some guy saying that he was there at the C5 party. That page is pretty dark, isn't it? We got some ghost pictures, have we? Let's have a look. Come on. What is it? I can't see a ghost. What is that thing there, though? What's that thing? Yeah, what's that? Looks like there is something in the photograph. Just trying to see what it is. Looks like a dress, doesn't it? So where's the caption for it? Top. This is not as it may seem. Final evidence for the existence of ghosts, but a carefully staged visualization. Alright, so it's probably a sheet on a cable, is it? Photograph for the British tourists. The ghostly aberrant is a so-called man in grey. It looked like a woman. Come on. Camera's not behaving so well today. A spectre is said to have haunted the theatre over 200 years ago. Oh well. So no evidence still, so it just shows you fake. So how did they do it? Can you see any cables? Crappy old pictures. Looks like there's a man standing in the background there. Is that a painting? So I think that's meant to be a man's head there, is it? And some sort of strange cloak. How did they do it though? Must be superimposed. Looks like it might be glass. Not sure if that reflection is on the book or actually on the photograph there. I think it might be mine. Here, look. Yeah, it's mine. See, shows have been faking stuff for years, and it makes it really hard for us to investigate when we got all this crap to deal with, even going back 40 years. There was a story about faces appearing on tiles here at one stage. Might come across that again. I think that was staged as well. It's 6 PM. Alright, you had your dinner. Let's see. What happened to the missing boy? What missing boy? In South Carolina. So what's that? More New York side, isn't it? If I remember right. So you'll be closer to evening, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, 3 hours difference to California. Man in grey. So, what happened to the dingables? Durables? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by that. There was a missing kid in Australia. I haven't been following it though. Is that what you're talking about? Current missing kid? And you're talking about the psychic. I suppose he's not around anymore. He was in Holland, right? He wasn't in Australia. But they have got psychics that they had on Sense and Murder. Remember that series? It's quite good. Sense and Murder New Zealand. If you ain't seen it, go and see if you can find it on a stream somewhere and have a watch. It's really worth it. End of experiment. They talking about measuring the soul here or something. Me too much blabbing, not reading. Physical researchers provide the ultimate proof of post-mortem survival. Now let's talk about spirit living on. You think it'd be easy. Say to someone that's going to die, it's quite willing to be part of the experiment to see if they can come back and communicate on EVP, right? That would be a fairly good thing to try. I know they put people that are going to die soon because they know they've got kidney problems or whatever, to see if they actually lose weight, which apparently they do. But that might be because, though, that when you exhale, you hear breathe out, right? Or that you'd lose weight. You'd have to, I don't know. How would you measure it properly? Put it in a bubble and measure the oxygen and also the water vapor. Letters, postscript. Sometimes the letters are pretty more interesting than the stories. What's this one? Tell you about a paranormal experience I had as a child when I was 9. My mother and father were staying at grandmother's house because she, was very ill, needs someone to look at. It's a shame I can't sort of snap it, huh? There should be a way to do it. To freeze it, you know. But it doesn't seem to give me any tools on full screen. Kind of weird. And then we can just read it. Move down to the next article. It's a bit too hard. Looks like I might have to reposition myself. I need like a special holder for books, really. And that would make a difference. But I don't expect to do this too often. So what do we got? I had a horrible nightmare that concerned my grandmother. That still disturbs me today. I saw her alone on her bed in her room downstairs, and my mother and aunt were crying. I could not understand why. Premonition of her death. And then all I could see was a lot of blood all over my grandmother. I woke up shouting. Okay. The following morning I went downstairs, opened the door to the front room and saw exactly what... Come on. What I had seen in a dream. It wasn't until a few years later that I was able to understand how my grandmother died. It was of a massive brain hemorrhage. Any of you readers had a similar experience? So obviously the blood pours out of the ears, does it? And the nose. I don't know too much about that. Brain hemorrhage. Let's see what we can find out. Yeah, how do you spell it? Human urge, that's not how you spell it. This it. What causes a brain hemorrhage? A blood clot, maybe? I don't know. Bleeding in the brain can happen because of accident, brain tumour, stroke, high blood pressure, or other health. Brain bleed can reduce oxygen delivered into the brain, create pressure, and kill brain cells. Many patients have experienced a brain hemorrhage do survive. However, several rates are decreased. Survival rates are decreased when the bleeding occurs in certain areas of the brain. Survives initial event. Can stress called brain bleed. Well, that's going to put up your blood pressure, isn't it? What types of hemorrhage? There are three main types: arterial, venous, and capillary. So, hemorrhage, can blood pour from ears? I don't know, it's got to come out somewhere, I suppose. Is that when you get that? Is it Ebola? When you get that virus, it causes bleeding from all your open holes, basically. All your veins start leaking or whatever. If you're airborne, it could be caused by anything from convert sound vibrations into the nerve signals. What can be caused from bleeding in the mouth? Nosebleeds. Well, I think we've all had nosebleeds. There's a lot of veins up the nose, aren't there? Micro ones. Brain bleed. Let's have a look at that one. Hasn't really told us the answer, has it? Bleeding between the brain tissue and skull within the brain tissue itself can cause brain damage. Sometimes called headache, nausea, and vomiting. Oh, JD, you better be careful. Or sudden tingling, weakness, numbness, or paralysis of the face, arm, or leg. Unfortunately, my leg's been playing up like that, where I get numbness and the foot's been swelling up, so I'm a bit scared that I might have a heart problem. In fact, it hurts now. Bleed inside your head doesn't tell us where the blood is coming from, though. Well, if it bleeds into the skull, it's got to come out somewhere, isn't it? Nuns. Bleeding can occur anywhere between three membranes. Okay, it gets a bit more complicated, doesn't it? Bleed happens between dura mater and archiold membrane. Skin. But where does the blood come from if it's outside? How does it get there? Maybe through the nose. And you can see it here. Mind you, the ears are pretty close. What happens to the brain when there's bleeding inside the head? It relies upon a series of blood vessels, supply oxygen. Why can't we just get a simple answer? Blood flow around the inside of the brain. Yeah, okay. Brain bleeds, fatal. Take weeks before symptoms develop. Brain bleed can cause brain damage, and yes, they can be life-threatening. So, you might be bleeding inside and not even knowing it. That's what they're saying there. For days. It's a matter of time passes between the bleed, treatment. Once brain cells die, you end up being a goof-on. Goof-on and a fraud. UFO fraud. Strikes people of all ages. Blood clots, yeah. This is what this Vax is meant to cause, though. They reckon it causes clots in some people. That's what I said to JD when he had headaches after he had the second jab. I said, well, you might be the one of the unlucky ones where it causes heart inflammation and clots. What blocks the flow of blood, cuts off. One of the causes of brain bleeds. High blood pressure, yeah, we know all that. So, yeah, I still didn't get the answer, did we? Why would she wake up in blood? Does it go through the skin, nose, ears? Brain hemorrhages, where does the blood pour to? Blood outside body. Okay, let's see. Bleeding can occur anywhere. Membranes, okay, we know about the membranes. Yeah, that's what we want to know. Brain leaks or burst causes bleeding, hemorrhage, stroke. A lack of oxygen. Okay, still not answered the question. Oh, from that silly story about to seeing it in a dream. So that opens up the questions. Can we predict the future? Again, that looks like spoody action at the distance, right? How can someone see into the future if time's constantly moving forward? And this is where it breaks into my theory of multiverses, right? I suppose there might be some gory pictures that might explain this one. Yeah, so she may have... the grandmother may have died in a previous multiverse, and she just managed to pick up that information from what I'm talking about, dark matter, maybe containing trillions of bits of information per atom in dark matter itself. So what is dark matter? Maybe it's a special particle, not necessarily an atom. So yeah, with more answers than questions, obviously. So she could actually picked up the information from a multi-universe where the grandmother looks like a grandmother died in exactly the same way. But it happened in that universe thousands of years ago, or 100 years ago, or whatever, or maybe even hours ago. And then she sees it in her universe when she wakes up. So yes, there's all sorts of ways you could explain it, rather than being time travel. That one seems more plausible to me. Just check out the side comments again. And then you were reading about precognition. Oh yeah, it's about that story. About that psychic that solved hundreds of missing people cases. But yeah, as you can see, we're having trouble getting it focused today. I did try to get it pretty focused there, so you might be able to pause and read it and see what the story said. So we never got the answer to brain bleed. I suppose it might be nosebleeds, maybe, would make more sense. It does seem to go to the ears, though, doesn't it? It's got to come out the ears, I reckon. What's that one there? Hemorrhage. That's got to be covered from the nose, isn't it? Oh, there you go. So, that makes sense. I don't think I could be a doctor, but obviously it's a good way to get money. And a lot of Indians get into that field. My dad said the best option is dentist. They're ridiculously expensive. But anyway, yeah, I just couldn't look inside smokers' mouths all day long. I couldn't even look at blood at one stage. I couldn't even prick my finger for blood tests. I would almost pass out trying to do it, and I'd go all crazy and shivery. Now I'm just used to it. It's just a matter of getting used to it. And the sight of blood doesn't sort of upset me as much anymore. So what was the next story here? Like I said, the story's sometimes better. I got this meant to be auto-focusing as fast as it can. Still not the best, is it? Dear Sir. I can't quite read it. It's a bit too small still. Suddenly sat bolt upright in bed and found myself looking into the face of a young woman. Hey, apparition. She was about 5'7", tall. So again, that could, my theory on the multiverses could explain that, where they leak into ours. And when you see an apparition, they're actually there at that location, but on their own planet. Their own Earth. And they're seeing you as a ghost in their bed. I'm surprised no one's actually done a story like that, where the ghosts think you're the ghosts. Well, maybe someone has. Maybe someone else has had the same thought. Look at this story. It goes on forever. It's half a page. A letter someone wrote in. This shows how popular the magazine must have been. Dear Sir, how about Madam? That would be classed as biased now, wouldn't it? Excellent articles. One's on the Shroud of Turin, which some new documentaries come out, and that would prove how it could be faked, and also put blood on it. Who are the men in black? Okay, private life of planets. Not planets, but plants. The spiritualist movement. Lays and black streams. Never heard of black streams. Heard of ley lines. The devil's footprints. And here we go. Men in black. And of course, Third Phase has done a scummy documentary about it. Don't waste your money. Come here and listen to the Men in Black story here. For free. Satan in the snow. Okay. It's funny font, that one. I thought they were going to talk about the Moan Devil, which is crop circles. One called February Morning, 1855. Why I got the mouse cursor there? Bugger off. That put me off. Strange trail of footprints. That sounds like the Bigfoot was found in thick snow and covered South Devon. Okay, if we got some pictures. The goat print. But you do have goats running around paddocks, so wild goats are everywhere. Why would that be unusual to find them in snow? Look at how bad this is. It's not transmitting it. What's this up here? I suppose Devon is this in UK, isn't it? English Channel, there you go. Okay, it's a lot of reading there. So this is the funny thing about that is, remember they talked about climate change. Only like a couple hundred years ago it was frozen over. And they could skate on it. Is that what it says here though? We still got audio here. I heard a click in the strange click sound. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it sounds alright there. Why do I got a click sound? Yeah, what does it say there? Is it Thames or is it another river? It should have come in. See, what happens is the phone uses 3 cameras, all with different lenses, which look at focus at certain distances. So obviously, as you get up close, it still keeps it in focus and automatically selects the right camera, which is kind of clever. And you get a wide one for wide shots, and it automatically selects it through the firmware. It's only going to get better, but it looks to me like they need faster processing still, right? To know when it's in focus. So it looks like a Tasmanian devil. They look religious types though, don't they? Ancient Christians and Catholics. Look at that guy. Mysterious markings were seen in Devon. English explorer Sir James Clark Ross above had discovered strange single-track prints in the snow. Yeah, but as you know, snow you can sort of double walk into it. That's what they believe the Yeti footprints are in the snow. Is actually a type of bear, not actually a big foot, so to speak. And because the back feet step into the front feet in their gait, and it melts a wee bit. It looks like single big footprints like humans. So we're talking about plants again. Whether they can feel pain or understand music, bad music, whatever. So what's that one saying for experiment? One leans away from avant-garde concert music The other was dying from acid rock. There you go. That's what it does to your brain, guys, listening to heavy metal. Don't know, they both look pretty sad. Me, I like varied types of music, depending on my mood, of course. So it might be 12 magazines, but there's just a lot of stories in them, isn't there? And seem to have a good selection of photographs as well. Although a lot of them are black and white. So all these people doing experiments with music and talking badly to them. So what would that mean? Would people certainly give up eating? No eating plants, no eating animals. Okay, we've got the man in black. Look at that. That's pretty cool on the angle there. Who are the men? I should redo my thumbnail, really. Who are the men in black? See, I need a way to snapshot it. Really, I should do full screen. I might just use that one. Let's see. Men in black. That's a good angle. Snapshot. It's easier said than done. There we go. We got it. That'll be a bit of fun now. That'll catch a few of them out there. Okay. Comes in handy. So, I wonder if I can change it now. Or leave it till after the show, I suppose. So, 40 years ago, they're still talking about Men in Black. So there you go, more sightings. People come out and talk about the more harassment of witnesses. There's that cursor in the way going. Frightening bizarre encounters. So I wonder if there's any good stories in there. Remember, we found a few good articles on UFOs. Could go back and just concentrate on those stories. And treat this as a relaxed one. But have we covered most of these with robots? I don't know. And why do they drive these strange black cars? What's that with black? Looks scary. I got a shadow up in there. The old Cadillac. What's the thing with the Cadillacs? Is that what they use for limos, is it, in America? And what have we got over here? Yeah, I remember a story about guys shooting some aliens. What was his name now? And 3 companions returned home from Minot, North Dakota. Hunting trip when... Yeah, I can remember this story, I think. Luminous Solo. Landed. So, cigar UFO. Interested? Why can't we get that now? And we got the technology to film it. It's just annoying. So this luminous craft again could be related to multiverses, right? Because to come between one dimension and another, you're going to need some sort of shielded, I think, to go through the wormhole. Makes sense that you'd have some sort of tube or UFO sphere that you travel in, because that would be the perfect shape. And why would it glow? Because it gets hot. Excuse me. Okay. So yeah, really need to get a snapshot of that, and then we could actually read it. Look at it, it's locked up now. Since I coughed. Come on. What the behaviour on a B movie? Well, it's possible. If they watched a movie and think that's how we act. Seven men. Tough guys. You might need to better dig up some of these old movies. What's this guy doing? Do they smoke? I don't think I've heard them smoking. They normally have glasses on. And that's what it's got on the Men in Black. But we can't spend too long on it. But I think I managed to pause it enough there that we could probably go back at the end and read it out. But what I could do is I could optical scan those 2-3 pages. The power that dossiers can sense. Okay, dividing rods, is it? Here we go. Find underground water. And evil in earth. So this will be to do with ley lines, I guess. Which is meant to be like energy pathways. Healing the evil stream. So that's where the black stream or dark stream is said at the beginning of the page of the book cover. So I've not really heard about that before. The magical, invisible black streams that seems to carry darkness on the land. I suppose it's possible. If you've got dark matter and dark energy. What do we got here? Can't quite get in focus. The GeoMess Series Art. What's that about? And can we get in focus? Air Force. Now, is that why they use acupuncture? We've got a life force inside us as well. What have we got down further? Talking to the horned goat. Maybe I talked about that entity jumping on my back. Well, that's what the feet there felt like two hooves on the back of me when I was trying to sleep. It happened 3 times, but only two times when it was on my back. The other time was when I heard something jump onto the bed. And of course, perfect would be if it happened now, because I got the camera, going. So if the entity wants to make its presence known, let's document it on a live stream. Now, wouldn't that be good? It's not going to focus on that one. That'd be scary as hell, though. But it always happens at, the witching hour, 3 to 5 in the morning, before the sun comes up. But it's been very quiet for a good year now, isn't it? It's been very quiet. So maybe I'll never even... Apart from that weird noise I had, big bang noise in this phone here, locking up a bit like it's doing now with the focus in. But it locked up, so the app didn't record the sound for that whole day, which is kind of strange. But you can see that the phones are still could be a lot better. The way of the spirit. Oh, we got a big comment. Now I'll just catch up. There we go. You're doing Google at the same time. I do stop and do Google to look up more things on these old books. From all social classes, it was one of the most popular forms of divination throughout Africa. Yeah. I have used, get yourself a piece of number 8 wire, fencing wire, and just make 2 divining rods. I mucked around with it, and I found that you have to have a mindset for it to work. If you don't believe it's going to work and you just walk with these things in your hand, nothing really happens. Then you want to concentrate what you're looking for. So if you're looking for water under the ground, or a stream, underground stream, you've got to imagine that you're looking for water, and then just keep walking along this paddock until the things decide to turn, and then you just keep repeating it just to see if it's in the same spot. And that's how a lot of the well people do it in New Zealand here. And I noticed that some of them do it. Because we got into it when the uncle got a farm, and he got someone out to get some underground water to his place. And sure enough, the drill found it in the first hit. But I'm not too surprised for New Zealand, though, because there'd be water everywhere in Canterbury and where I'm in. So, yeah, is there something to it? I don't know, but every time that I tried it, initially it didn't work, and Mum and Dad said, "Oh, well, it doesn't work for everybody." Hey, what was that? Did you hear that? There's something whistled then. Did we just pick up an EVP? I just got the shivers down my back. Dan, you still there? What was I saying? Back to the other story. Yeah, and they said, "Oh, it doesn't work for some people," but I kept trying, and I thought maybe I was holding it too tight or stuff. And then they said, "Oh, so I think you got to think about it," and they told me how to do it properly, and then it started working. And there was yeah, but did you hear that strange sound in the heat in the speakers? It was like a type sound. like a sort of like a whistle, like I'm here. The goat man is here. So if he shows up, this is my rest of my bedroom. If you're out there, you can see I've got a lot of junk in the disco lights and all sorts of stuff, and some old DVDs that I never used much anymore because they're not digital, but I've got a little box on the side that converts it, and it's like a maze of cables here. Yeah, and then I got my TR3B up there. So if I have an earthquake, all that's going to come flying at me, okay? And I got some stacks of DVDs and stuff behind the door. Yeah, and it's pretty messy, as you can see. And I got these boxes and boxes of electronics and clothing. I got too much stuff. And in the closet, got the door open. An old tablet that I've been trying to fix. I can't get the battery type for it. And I got shoe rack there and clothing. So yeah, pretty normal bedroom for someone like me anyway. So yeah, if there was any ghosts around, plus I got a table here, stack full of hard drives for USB storage and backups. So yeah, and I got stuff in the windowsill there that's on charge. But I can't see the low lights, so you can see how it's sort of changing. That's kind of weird how it goes dark there. So it should automatically adjust. Looks like it's trying to focus in on something next to me here. See that? It went out of focus. So that's part of the 3 camera stuff. And yet it's very dark on the screen on the phone, but on this app it's a lot brighter. So yeah, I got the chair with lots of straps on it with different covers on it, but I never use it anymore because I can't sit in it because of my bad back. Yeah, so there you go, you get to see the... Yeah, you probably have to play it back, I think. And this... it's a strange sound, and I didn't touch the microphone, which is kind of weird. It was raining here most of the morning. There's a cloud, big white cloud that's only now sort of cleared up. I hear the slight sound there. Yeah, kind of sound like a little whistle type sound. Yeah, so I was telling the story about the dividing rods, right? And tarot cards, horoscopes. Atlantis was on. So it's talking about R101 again. Did the spirit speak? So it's talking about the ghosts talking in the area where it crashed, I guess. Dreams that come true. Well, I've had a few of those. I'm not sure if you have, Dan. Men in Black. Menace exposed. So it carries on with Men in Black and looks like it. We've got Hollow Earth. So that's the famous satellite picture, right? Where they claim that the Earth is hollow. But it's due to the camera artifact, of course. A bit like the sun ones, where the middle part is actually covered over because of the lens. But anyway, we'll probably see that in the book. Yeah, so one day I was going up down the driveway, and it always would cross in the same place. And I said, Dad, I think there's water under there. Have you got a water pipe going on? He said, nah, I don't think so. But it turned out later when they were digging up next door and redoing the plumbing because they had a leak, they found this water pipe that was going from their property through our property underneath illegally to the street. So I'm not sure what happened, how that got installed, but it must have got installed before our house was built next door to it. They must have put it in underground and not put it on the paperwork. So for me, the divine rods worked with water. Number 8 wire. Perhaps give it a try yourself. Maybe you could do it with bottles of water or something. But I don't think that works. I think you've got to have a flowing water so it creates an electric charge. And somehow it causes a influence on your muscles in your hand or your brain. Your brain controls the muscles in your hand. It causes a little change, a tilt, subconsciously, so to speak. I don't know, you just have to play around with it. I think there was some science to it there, but can't work to find everything, right? People said it could find gold and dead people and all that sort of stuff. And also tried my waterbed. Every time I'd walk towards the waterbed, they would always turn sideways. You know what I mean by dividing rods, right? So it's not just looking at magazines, it's also adding my own stories to it. Tarot cards, they're like 78 cards, isn't it? Or was it 88 cards? With different pictures on that mean different things, like death is near or rebirth, and it depends how the order of the pictures come out, how you translate it, of course. Yes, it's very popular, tarot cards. Divine rods. We're talking about these things. Number 8 wire. But this is a wee bit more fancy to what I had. They've got it in little tubes. That'll make it more... you wouldn't have to hold it so carefully. That'll make it more free-flowing. This one here with the wishbone, where it's meant to go downwards as you go towards the water. Never tried that version. I always did these ones here. As a scientist, you got to do these things, right? And you can't just put it down, right? So you got to go and do it yourself. Put your mindset in it and see if something happens. So yeah, how would you do it? You could try bottle of water and get someone to move it around and see if you can pin it each time. And document how many times you get it right to wrong. If it's 50-50, you know it's pure chance. But then I think it needs to be running water, like I said. And I think metal pipes can interfere with it. If it's in plastic pipes, PVC, which is basically what was under the driveway, I think. Oh no, it might have been ceramic pipe. It might have been one of those, they're like little clay pipes. In this case, I think they used to be orange. But I think PVC and the clay type pipes works for. Metal pipes, I don't think it's been very successful. Although it did work over my bed, which is like a big, huge swimming pool, right? That's basically it. And it worked, and that wasn't running. But it's big enough to have water motion, I guess, where it's sort of bouncing back and forth on the sides of the waterbed. So even walking towards it, you're making a vibration. So maybe that's why that worked. I think it has to have some movement in it anyway. Perhaps Dan can take that one to further research. Or anyone out there listening, if you're really interested, and get back to us and actually just do some videos or... As you can see, it can't be too hard to make. You just have to bend the wire. Although the ones I had might be based on length as well. My ones are quite long. I think I had it like 2 feet out the front. These ones only look like 10 inches or less. So that might be another factor, the length of them. The longer they are, the more sensitive. Maybe, I don't know. But when you start walking forward and they turn, those ones haven't got it. They go straight to your body. And when it happens, it's like a wow moment. Because you're not expecting it. Who's doing that one? Dousing for water. Anything with TV we can't use. How can people believe in dowsing is real? Boy, you ain't doing it yourself. That's why. And actually getting some positive results like I did. That's why you believe in it. And I think only certain people can do it too. So yeah, it needs a lot more research in that. Is it bullshit? Bullshit. Uploaded by OGB. See, again, like I said, it's got to be, your mind's got to be tuned in. If you're a doubter and all that, then it's not going to work. You got to have an open mind and take it seriously, like a scientist. You got to keep repeating it until it keeps crossing in the same place. Start walking in different directions towards the spot where it always crosses. Blindfold yourself, see if it crosses. I'll tell you, it happens every time, all in the same spot. I tried it. It works. Still use magic dowsing rods because it works. That's why. How to use dowsing or divine rods. Okay. Water techniques. So I'd like to play some of these, but not sure if we get in trouble. Might be a load of swearing.
Okay, so we found out we needed to drill a well. The very first thing we had to deal with was, where are we going to drill this well? So we had a few people, possible well drillers come to the property, and one of them had dowsing rods. Now, dowsing rods are an old technique.
And they still use them here, and they get a lot of success. But like I said, can you find water anywhere? I think you probably can, as long as you keep drilling deep enough. So is he actually going to show us? Or is he just going to talk about his experience?
Dowsing rods are an easy way to offset that that responsibility on the supernatural, in my mind. By doing that...
he's saying it's a way to blame not finding water. I don't know. Damn. I hate that little pop out. It screws up every time. What's that one? Beekeeper. Well, Beekeeper's got to be friendly. He'll let me use his video. Dad's a beekeeper. Oh, look at that nice
territory. It's the morning time.
Grizzly bears and all sorts to kill you in America. Now, if that was in New Zealand, we do have forests like that in New Zealand, where they do plant pine trees and stuff. But we also got lots of native bush. And you can walk through that bush and pretty much be safe. In America, not so much. But in New Zealand you can, unless you bump into a wild pig, and the pigs can charge you and kill you. So yeah, I suppose it always pays to have a handgun that's big enough to be able to kill a pig. But normally most stuff would keep away from you. Wild pigs would probably keep the distance, I think, run off.
I have no idea what day it is today. It's about 7 in the morning. I'm out on my morning hike, talking to my trees.
He isn't going to watch.
Getting my head right for the day.
Sounds a bit of a spiritualist or whatever.
My whole life. And who's been...
So what's he filming? Is that the house down there? Yeah, house looks like a building. Is it? Bit hard to tell. You might see a Bigfoot if you look hard enough. Yeah, so those military or police dowsing rods to find explosives. Okay. A number of devices have been marketed for modern police. Never heard of such a thing. Study advised against buying bogus explosive detection equipment. Noted that all testing had been shown that devices are performed no better than random chance. Okay. Like I said, just try it with water and see how you go. If it doesn't work, first of all, don't get your hopes down. It might be that you got to sort of focus on it. You got to focus on what you want in your mind. Any water. Anyway, here we go. And it crosses.
I'm gonna take video
like
for the kids so they can watch this. Wow. The kids will never believe that old Uncle Don came out with his witching sticks and found water. It's like magic.
Well, that sure could be. You got little. So it looks like you got some fissures or something coming down. Good. There.
The problem is you don't know how deep it is, but some reckon you can take one of them, and if you watch the tip of the thing go up and down in a minute or whatever, that's how many meters down it is or something. But yeah, doesn't sort of work that way. It could be a couple of feet underground to 1,000 feet underground. It's kind of weird how it sort of knows. So he's getting a few crossovers every few meters.
You're a star.
What?
I said you're gonna be a movie star.
Yeah, look at that.
It's voodoo magic.
So
That's been consistently in line the whole time.
Yeah.
All the way down to the house.
So what he's doing is gradually going up the hill to see if it's always in the same spot. So there could be like an underground spring. So did they drill and actually prove it?
Them's backwards.
Wow. Right there where I scratched it.
Yeah.
How deep did you go on that?
That one's dug to 120. That well. The pump is sitting at 100 and the static level's at 80.
Anyway. Go and give it a try yourself. Okay. No more. Let's get on with Men in Black and Hollow Earth. Let's see what the magazine has to say. The legend lives on. What lake do you think that is? Loch Ness? Is that monkeys on rocks or what? Kind of looks like an ape there, doesn't it? That one looks like an ape there too. Further along. Back of an ape. Maybe it is. Let's see what it says. It's in Japan, is it? Can we get focus? Give us focus. Maybe I should have cleaned the lens. Maybe that. Atlantis again. What could have destroyed it? Well, one theory was they're drilling to the Earth's core, and it caused the crust to sink inwards and stuff to go under the water. Anyway, got to remember we're in a crust, so anything could go wrong. Okay, what are we looking at there? Africa. So they're thinking it's up near America there, was it? But they're really on the wrong side. They need to be looking down near Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, they're looking on the wrong side. Meteorite storm, night volcano, they got there, is it? Yeah. Is it still the same? The Mayans or Incas? Is it? I always get confused between. What is it? Incas, Mexicans, isn't it? Mayans are further down. It's, Brazil. Okay, who can translate that for us? Looks like it's got some horrible looking images there. That'd be like the underground of the dead or something, is it? Underwater, what's that one? It's not focusing very well. Come on. The Bimini Road. Yeah. That was found to be a natural formation though, wasn't it? Yeah, we've got the men in black again. Right. Looks like Bill Gates. And we got this guy here, he's a big tall one. The agents of the dark. Come to anything. So what is the process behind their visits? And just say, don't talk about it or we'll kill you all. Dr. Hopkins felt no what particular surprise as he admitted his visitor. So it's not Bob Hopkins or whatever. So let's see if we can get adjusted better here. Let's see if we can get that story. There we go. So what's it saying? Come on. Why is it not that good? He looks like an undertaker. He looks like an undertaker. His clothes were immaculate suits and wrinkled trousers sharply creased. When he took off his hat, he revealed himself as completely hairless. So that sounds like an alien, doesn't it? Bald heads weren't the thing back then, was it? Not only bald, but without any eyebrows. You know, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Skin was dead white. That almost sounds like silicone, doesn't it? His lips. Grey suede gloves. But no glasses, right? That's kind of weird. Visitor from another dimension. Yeah. Now we're talking another universe, though. My energy was running low. Must go. His energy's running low. So that does mean it's some kind of sort of robot. I just can't read these too well. That one's come out alright. His daughter-in-law, Maureen, received a telephone call from a man who claimed to know her husband, John, and asked if he and a companion could come and visit. Or at least they called. John met the man at a local fast food. Okay, so it's another story. Story within a story. I brought him home with companion woman. Both appeared to be in their mid-30s. They were curiously old-fashioned clothes. The breasts were set low. Stood up, seeing that there was, come on, something wrong with the way that her legs joined onto her hips. Robots, both strangers, walked the very short steps, leaning forward as though frightened of falling. Maybe they're on stilts. Yeah. If it goes wrong, it's probably because my book's touched a key or something and ended the live stream. I'm just trying to get it focused, and I got it on this full screen mode at the moment. Should make the writing bigger for us, but I can't see how the battery's going. Maybe that's why it's not so good. If I put the power cable in, it might mean the Wi-Fi doesn't go to low power or something. Yeah, seemed like an interesting story there. It's just that I can't get it in a nice place. They walked with strange steps. Yeah, out of focus. Accepted Coca-Cola, but they didn't drink it. What? Strangers sat awkwardly together, asked a number of detailed personal questions. Did John and Maureen watch television much? Trying to say that they make believe what they saw. What did they read, and what did they talk about? All the while, the man was porn and fiddling his female companion, asking John if this was alright. Strange. And whether he was doing it correctly. What, touching the breast of the woman? Is that what they're saying? See, I tell you, you never get stories like this now. 40 years ago. I've never heard this story before. So yeah, maybe I should pull that one out and scan it sometime, huh? And I could get it there, but I can't now read it because it's just a wee bit beyond my eyesight today. But anyway, it's like an interesting story there on the Men in Black. And we're coming up to more Men in Black stories. They're still going, which is interesting. There's a big article on it. One of Mick Redfern has found these stories. Plagiarism. Mexican witness Carlos, that sounds familiar, was stopped on his way to television interview, but not one but two large black limousines, and one of the occupants dressed in black suits. Look, boy, if you value your life and your family too, don't talk any more about the sighting you had. Threats of violence. They do sound very alien, especially that one about the fondling. Yeah, it's not going to come in focus, is it? Some kind of demonic psychic entity. I don't think so. They sound almost robotic, bio-robotic. With artificial intelligence, maybe. They've probably been watching TV movies, right? And tried to learn how to interact with humans. But now, part of the abduction options is that have been abducting people and trying to hibernise so they can sort of blend in. But then wouldn't they be like sub-aliens, though, if they're sort of half-human and probably just using them? And maybe those hybrids are the ones that are going to come out and take over, right? If they got the human side of them, that's probably what would happen, wouldn't it? Hybrids would say, no, we're not going to take your orders anymore. We're going to do it our way and take over the ship. Mutiny. So yeah, there's quite a lot of reading there, as you can see. Maybe I'll scan in a few selected stories here and there. Everyone should vote. Each live stream I do, say, oh, you want that one? Want that one, that one, that one. And can make it available, because I'm not sure if you can get these magazines anymore. North Pole. So this is the Hollow Earth. There we go. So that looks like a lava tube there. And we do know that the Vikings used to use those as a place to hide out during the storms. Because they used to row around trying to find new locations, land to invade. And apparently they did get up to Iceland and Greenland and all that. So there's that famous picture again. And it's got the binder here, so it's in the middle of the book. And it's all curved. Which is a bit of shame. They should have stuck it on a page by itself. That's what it probably needs to be scanned in. What's it say about it? below is what I want. Right. Photograph of the North Pole. I thought it was the South Pole, but yeah, no. 1968 by ESA-7 satellite showing a strange black hole. For certain UFO enthusiasts, this was ultimate proof that the Earth was hollow. But they don't give you the other side of the story, do they? There's Admiral Byrd. Story linked in there. So-called secret diary where he exposes the truth. It's meant to be fake. So we know there's not a black hole there because we're seeing lots of stuff on TV where they've just got ice that goes on forever. So if that was a door that opened up, right, where's all the snow gone to? And all the people that live on it, North Pole, the natives, right, Indians. See, the gravity here doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Talking about inside. Was that Betty and Barney Hill there? Don't know. Kind of looks like it, but it's not, I don't think. I've got to read down here. Right. Oh no, it was Betty. There you go. Explain there were many UFO bases in or under Earth. Or under the sea. Yeah, it doesn't mean the Earth's hollow though. Would work out with gravity and the physics and all that. Dreams that come true. There we go. Now, I had a period where that did happen, but I don't get it anymore. But like I said, at the time I was experimenting with a negative ion generator in the bedroom when I started having, which could allow for multi-universe portal opening when you think about it. Because you're changing the electric staticness of the room that you're sleeping in. Especially if out of body is true as well. So, last time we did this, 2 hours, only got us halfway through. So this started at 25, and then we only come up to 28. So yeah, it's got to be that situation again, I think. Can only get through half one each part. So yeah. Dreams. I suppose be lots of different stories where people dreamed. But we read one of those out before about the girl seeing her grandmother dead. There's lots of those type of stories. Just before his assassination. I suppose his wife or him dreamt about it, did they? Here we go. A portrait of war. During the night of 27 June 1924, a Balkan bishop, Joseph D. blah blah blah, had a terrifying dream. That's always terrifying. In it, a black-edged letter lay on his study table, bearing the arms of Archduke Ferdinand, Austrian-Hungarian throne. When he opened the dream letter, the bishop saw a street scene at the head of the paper. Was scared in a motor car. Certainly, I need like a co-host that can read. Well, I try and keep it steady. Your Eminence, dear, my wife and I have been victims of political crime. We considered ourselves. Next day, the shaken bishop received news of the assassination. Okay, so you didn't actually see it being killed, you actually saw a letter saying that they were going to be targeted. Okay. So it just shows the dreams don't have any effect on the outcome, though. Alright, it's the same with my dreams. We had it, and it still happened. And it didn't give me any warning. But later I tried to figure out what it was all about, and in each case it was warning me of something bad that was going to happen, like whether it was going to be a relationship breakup or meet someone that had was going to end up in prison for fraud. Maybe that's why I got into this channel. Maybe I was destined to expose frauds online in the UFO community. So it's talking about that airship again, UK one. So they're talking about EVPs here at the crash sites. But yeah, I'm not too interested in that. Send out some of the modern teams with their cameras, right, and maybe they should investigate that claim, whether there's still people there from that crash, walking around in, I don't know, zombie ghost land. Amazing how good the pictures come out. If I look at the book, it's really dark and it's really hard to see. On the camera, it's just perfect. That means it's got better eyes than me. Directly, you know. It does enhance it. So there's the letters are going at the end on this one. Unless to show ball lightning. Never adequate explanation of the circumstances in which it was obtained. The trace of light across the scene was obviously pulsating, which according to obviously pulsating, which according to all some details presented in your article is quite what untypical of ball lightning. Questions that are raised on the viewing of the photograph. So yeah, what article was that? Issue 11, so that's in the first book. So we just have to keep that in mind when we come across that story next. Won't be next time, at some stage. See if it looked like it was pulsating. I suppose that creates a streak with gaps in between, or faded to gaps in between. What else we got here? What are we talking about here? Experience of a premonition. Okay. Yeah, but you have a premonition, but like I said, you just can't do anything about it. It's still going to happen. Following day, I learned the erection of Mount St. Helens. This happened at that very time of the vision. Yeah, but it didn't help save anyone, though, did it? So I found myself preaching. What's that last one on? Investigation behind the humanoid masks. And that was in a position to check the accuracy of the reports. Yeah. I work in the atomic energy plants into which the creature reportedly disappeared. And I have made some discreet inquiries concerning the incident. So I haven't come across that story yet. We have to go through the first books again. Appears that the gentleman who saw the creature reported it to the local police who saw the creature reported, who returned to make inquiries at the fire station of the atomic energy. The firemen there were... Oh, right, so it's talking about that silver mask UFO creature, right? Remember we talked about that with Robert, saying, could it be a fireman? Firemen, there were silver suits to fight fires. It could have been one of them. So, a fireman... I'm not sure I understand the story. So the fireman wore a mask behind the human mask. So a fireman saw a creature, and they're talking about this creature in the silver suit. I suppose he's talking about this creature in the silver suit. But then it says the man who saw the creature reported it to the local police, who returned in to make inquiries at the fire station. The firemen there wore silver suits. I'm not quite sure I understand what he's saying here. and a student is said to have confessed to the hoax. If anyone has further information on this report, I would be pleased to hear it. David J. Forster. $15. Never with silver suits. I don't know. Issue 14, so we'll have to go to that one. Perhaps I should do that. God, how many more we got? 35. 36. So that's 8. How many have we been through? Not really many. That many. Only 3. I must have been doing a lot of talking this time. Ghosts without souls, other dimensions, hollow earth again, dreams of discovery, UFO side effects, lines of force. Hey, we got a flying saucer. I've seen that one before. Looks like it's got windows going around it. It's possible that UFOs come from another dimension. Universe! Not dimension. So, talking about it there. Visitor peeled the screw off the flat surface on which he dwelt and took him on a mind-expanding trip. That sounds like drugs. Yeah, take this pill, the red pill. The flatlanders, flat earthers. Okay. So I sort of covered that topic, but differently. Let's see what they're trying to say. They're talking about dimensions, though. But a dimension would be like a portal between universes. Where it sort of wraps space between space. Well, anyway, I suppose they're trying to show it as existing in the same space to three-dimensional people, that it could pass through us, which is basically ghosts as well. So Dan, you're the only one that's interested in what I do. But these are fairly good books. At least someone that's got good eyes to read it and pull out the best stories for us. Look how nice and clear that is now. But it's still too small for me to read it. Without tripping over my tongue all the time. I'm only down to one eye, really. Left eye's gone. It's all blurry. Which means I should have put some drops in by now. So it's on about solid facts of the Earth having a hot core. So it can't be hollow Earth, can it? But it can have caves that go underneath. Lava tube holes, we know about them. So talking about Bird's Diary again, Rainbow City has no substance other than Bird's description avenue of a frozen rainbows. Frozen rainbows. Well, it sounds strange, doesn't it? Another one that might be worth scanning in. And now we talked about physics. And the atom. Carbon, hydrogen, methane. F-lane. Dreams of discovery. Early scientists. What's come up now? What's that say there? Come on. A structure of being seen. So, I'm not sure what it's about, but talking about how atoms bond to each other, I guess. Stick together. Well, they don't actually stick together this close by, aren't they? And they reckon they share charge to stabilize themselves. Double bonding and all that sort of theory. Now, we don't really know if that happens. It's a good theory. It's one of the better ones. Where they're sharing electron stuff to keep it happy, in a happy state. A pact with the devil. Well, apparently Gufon did that. Maybe that's why he's successful now. And he's going to regret that if he's done a deal with the devil to be famous and have lots of money from his YouTube channel. Because you have to undo the deal. A special way, apparently. Would you give away your if you had out of body a soul, would you give away your soul to a devil so you could have a nice life as yourself in this world with lots of hot chicks and money? Would it be worth it? There's always two sides of the coin, right? There might be a good side, and then there's a bad side. And before you die, you may have to do something evil. Remember that story I was telling you about that I saw on one of these shows? I can't remember what it was now, but it was talking about some guy received a mysterious letter and to do this and collect a book. Oh no, he found a book that had a lot of black magic charts in it and stuff, and one of it was to gain money, and another one was to gain females, be irresistible to females. And he did it, but the book didn't tell you there was a price. So you could be successful with money, but you had to kill someone. I wonder if I can find that story again, because it was a really good one. And he tried to seek out a priest. I heard the book then. What's it say there? Ghosts Without Souls. I talked about souls just now. A double-decker UK bus. I remember those. Don't have those in New Zealand. There might be a novelty one. But we don't use double-deckers because we ain't got that many people. Just regular buses, single layers. So yes, talking about ghosts and stuff. So it'll probably be some interesting ghost stories. The Jewel House in the Tower, London. Family were troubled by a cylindrical form filled with blue and white fluid. That's strange, isn't it? Phantom horses. Where you hear them come along the street, clock, 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 clock. And remember the ships that get sunk as well. They go to water and they can hear cannon fire, and the ships of the engines are running. Sounds like the diesel engines are running when there's nothing else around. It's like it's playing back like a recorder, which is possible. Talking about atoms, how they store information, and electrical charge of water, right, and salt. Especially sea shipwrecks. Secrets of the Earth. Confirm. What's that say? Claim to sense. Oh, what's going on? We're losing signal. Alright, Deltas again. Claim to sense a strong air force along lays. That bit I'm not too sure on. Lays can be anything. It could be like 2 connection points to historic buildings, and sort of have lots of different meaning ley lines. Like that horse there could be one point of a ley line, right? And then it connects to a Stonehenge, which is what that is here, I think. Now we're talking. Talking about magnetics. What they're trying to say here. What's that to do with Delson? yeah, finding these ley lines might be to do with magnetics, which is what I said. And your body can sense it. Becomes part of the machine once you add the 2 rods on. And we got some UFO stories. And we got a floating egg. Very strange. Anyway, what's going on? Looks like my mouse keeps going to sleep. It's trying to save the battery. Today, the Earth's axis is tilted 23.5 of orbit around the Sun. Alright. Is that the shortest year for you or something? And it's probably the longest for us. Yeah, the tilt of the Earth. And haven't you got Thanksgiving coming up? When's Thanksgiving in America? Next weekend, is it? So that's something else that's coming up. So what's that one say here? 1966. Flying Saucer Review. The crack in the universe. Okay, is that talking about multiverses? Sightings and side effects. Animals, countrysides. Physical reactions to a UFO visitation. Well, headaches. That makes sense. Buzzing in the ears. Yeah. Animals stampede because they pick up infrasound. Girl weeps for days. Yeah. Come on, get focused. The luminous green. What? Whoa. Right, the green meteorites. But they're not saying they're meteorites though. Plasma balls. I'm saying a cylinder there. Objects passed overhead. All the electric lights extinguished. Not the first time we've heard that, is it? So what's this egg UFO? A shining egg. Second kind, 1967. So what's it saying there? Claimed the object was 23 feet. So, egg shape, well, I suppose it's the next best thing to a sphere for strengths. That's why chickens lay eggs, I guess. And they could be slightly longer without having to be wider in diameter. Allows you to fit more inside the egg space. Or DNA for growing the chick or whatever. Without compromising the strength too much. What's that one saying? Impression of goodness and kindness. Space Brothers. Argentina. So I don't think we've heard these stories before, have we? I don't remember seeing the egg one before. There was a huge ring on the fourth finger of the creature's right hand, which he moved up and down constantly in front of her. She was overcome by lymphathy, isn't it? That's how you say it. As though strength was being drained. That's how me and Mum have been feeling this week, like something's draining our energy. Whether it's to do with the virus or the vaccination, I don't know. Okay, so not heard about that story before with the ring. I didn't actually look at the picture, did I? Is that the ring? It's more like David Bowie in the Labyrinth with the crystal ball or whatever. Bizarre tale. She was horrified to find herself face to face with a man, face to face with a man some feet, 6 meters, 2 meters tall, dressed in a kind of diver's suit that had silvery sky blue scales. It was fair-haired and holding up his left hand, no palm or sphere with moving about. So that's not the ring though. So has he got a ring? Oh yeah, he's got a ring. So obviously it's some sort of tool then. Like coming from the creature's finger. So that was a mind control ring. So I've not heard that story before. So that one might be good to scan in there. And be able to read those properly. How we going now? That's what, 4 down. We've got to get to at least 6, haven't we? How are we going for time? Mind you, I'm pretty pooped already. I'm pretty sore here. My foot's swollen up because of the angle. Pressure point. Oh, my foot's gone to sleep. That's not good. There's a lot more Men in Black and history stories. Sorting out ghosts. That sounds interesting. About the Men in Black again. Dream experience. Intrusions from elsewhere. That sounds like Men in Black again. Or ghosts. Or UFOs. Consequences. No. Considerances. I need a drink. Against all odds. Photographing ghosts. Vanishing soldiers found. Influence of planets. Master Dowser. Back to Dowson. And 33. UFOs and the computer. That might be interesting. When time slips. So we get into time slips. School. So there's a lot of good stuff to come up still. But there's only so much I can do holding the camera and trying to read the damn thing. What's in that one? Uri Geller tested. We know he's a fraud. Mysteries of the Moon, classic UFOs analysed, Ghost Hunters Guide. UFOs in action, ancient technology, Ted Series and Focus, whatever that is. History of Hysteria. So that's what's got to come still. Do we do another one? Let's see. If we don't do it, we're not going to get through them all. Still got 2 more books. And we need to go back over those old stories where the letters were written in as well. That's too much. Do one more and then we'll wrap up. As above, so below. I've heard that saying before. Astrology has always been regarded as a mysterious and occult art. Well, it certainly made my friend very rich. And people still buy it, but not spending so much now. Because of the C19, I guess. Suggests that it's scientifically valid. And his first part of his series, Brian and Ines. What is the horoscope? Is it possible to use it to predict future events? I'm not sure if you've seen the experiment done where they hand out the same reading for everybody in the class and says that's your personal reading. And everybody, they asked everybody did it actually match what their personalities, and everybody put up their hand and they all got the same reading. So it just shows how clever horoscopes are. To keep it general enough that people can see something in it that matches their own personality. So the sun and the symbols going around the outside as it seems to go back a fair time. What's that, the Mayans going, or is it Incas? Kind of looks like a scary thing in the middle there. What does it say there? Great circular calendar stone. Once stood halfway up the pyramid of Tech... Chichen, whatever that is, Mexico. So that would be what, Incas, is it? No, Mayas. So the Incas might be. I always get it around the wrong way, do I? There was certain races written here. What's the difference between? Let's find out. Inca and Mayan. So I might have it backwards. Inca might be South America. Mayans might be Middle America. Try that. Aztec. Oh yeah, I forgot about them too. The Aztec and Mayan were Mesoamerican civilization living in Mexico. So you got Aztecs and Mayans. So it looks like I got Incas wrong. I think I was thinking of Aztecs and Mayans. Aztecs and Incas, I mean. The Mayans are credited with the Mayan calendar. Aztecs also have a calendar. Well, the Incas are famed for their missionary and engineer skills, all three. So whereabouts were they, though? Well, they all Middle America. Where's it talk about Incas? Existed at the same time as the Aztecs. The Empire of South America, there you go, covered a vast territory mainly in the Andes Mountains, but also including lowlands and deserts, and stretching from what is now Quito, Ecuador, to Moore River in Chile. Chile, not down to Brazil. Just above Brazil, isn't it? Well, next door to it. So they're further down. And who goes below Brazil then? Who are the people in Brazil? Was it these ones? Olmecs. They actually looks like a good thing to share on the side, actually. Classroom. Yeah, it's not my sort of thing though, but it's good to know some basics, I guess. Incas and Mayans. I'll just paste it on the side here. I suppose you get taught this in American schools, don't you? Declined around 400 BC. Very little information about. Probably died because it got plague or lack of food, maybe. Maybe there was a drought. Aztecs were probably invented by the Olmecs and their religious beliefs. Maybe they had sort of like a religious uprising, right? And some went one way and the others all died out. That would make more sense. Anyway. Is the camera still working? Something's happened. I'll sort it out in a minute. Okay. You still talking about tilts before. Okay. We'll just try to get through this last magazine and wrap up for the night. So there are some really good articles in it, hasn't there? But it's just that you need someone with better eyes than I've got. It needs to be a two-man thing, really. Someone that holds the camera, or at least you could use a tripod. And plus, I need more room. I need to take over the house. I need to sit up on the table and do it properly that way. But I could only do it the way I can on the bed here. So let's get back to it. Something happened here on the screen. I think it's back to normal now. So I had it round the wrong way. Mayans are middle and Incas are below. Come on. What is the battery? I gotta scroll down. 69. It's not been too bad, isn't it? Wireless transmission of HD images. So what's this one on about? Right, astrology, that's right. Talking about the Earth's tilt there. 23, 27. Is that what you said? Is that what you said? Can I remember seeing that on the screen down the side? Let's see. Yeah, would it focus? 23.5. Not quite what they said. 23, 27 inches, mind you. What are you talking about? Degrees? What was it? Degrees. That's not degrees though, is it? With the little dash. 23 degrees there. 27 inches. I suppose that translates to 0.5, does it? I would have thought that was 0.3. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is a book that's 40 years old, so maybe it's been updated. Orbit of Mars. So they're trying to put some science to astrology here, right? Seeing if it can actually influence us. But maybe it can. When you think about it, if we talk about energy, the tilt of the Earth, what time of the year it is, the magnetics going through us, the radiation going through us, all could affect our mood. But I don't think it can predict the future, right? But it could predict how you're going to feel that day. Like today is a bad day to do investments. Today you're not going to feel too well. But yeah, generally, I don't know. I would have thought everybody was unique in the universe. So it's been around for 2,000 years, is what they're saying. They're talking about the movement of the stars. There's a lot of pictures here. Can't quite read that one. Masses and masses of reading on this one, isn't there? So what's that meant to be? Famous people? I don't know. Probably be a caption here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Now what's that say? Cast by the English astrologer, but drawn up after the event for the birth, coronation and death of Louis. What's that? The 16th of France. Was any of it accurate? That's what we want to know. Maybe it was. Maybe some of it comes true and that's good enough to say it's got some legitimacy to it. Okay, we got back to Dowson rods, is it? Paranormal something. Petrol search. Important conclusions. Yeah, I don't think we're going to solve paranormal anytime soon. So this is going back 40 years now. But there were some people that created devices, right? The one with the radio, which is quite used a bit now, and camera technology. and EMF pods and all that sort of stuff. Let's trigger when you ask them to trigger it, which is kind of interesting. That sort of would do away with randomness, you know. Someone says go and move close to the red bod and make it trigger two times for yes, and then they ask it questions and it triggers 2 times, and 1 time for no. That means you're communicating, doesn't it, with something? Unless it's fraud going on, which we've always got to consider that maybe someone is found somehow to activate it by a sensor in the pocket, you know, modified it somehow when they went watching, which would be a shame, and it would hoax it. Because I think people watch ghost shows even if they find nothing, right? Because they want to see a real investigation, and whether something really pops up. Now, what do we got here? Ley lines again? I'm not sure. Still talking about that ghost. There we go. He's not looking too happy, is he? How dare you? How dare you? Greta's father. Saw the ghost of an old lady. That cursor's in the wrong place again. Bugger off, cursor. So yeah, some more ghost stories, I guess. That's all it is. I don't do too much on ghosts, although they're good. They're good to hear the stories. I just can't be bothered reading them out to you, sorry. It's too much for me. But like I said, if anyone wants me to get a better scan of it, I probably could do that and put it up on my Discord account, and people would download it. We got to be careful with copyright, of course. Do it in this way. It's a bit hit and miss, as you know. And it is 40 years old, after all. But there are sort of a few stories here that we've sort of come out with tonight that certainly hasn't been online before. So it's talking about a creature, is it? So the story is that a lot of rich people had these as pets, and then as the owners were going to die, they released them out into the wild. Who cares if they eat people? So yeah, this boils down to cattle mutilations and all that, right? And the Surrey Puma, was it? Yeah. I think Robert's talked about it before. What have we got here? Looks like a castaway. Big cat print. Okay. I think that's a guy, not a woman. 600 texts. So yeah, that's possible, isn't it? You know, escape from a circus, released by rich owners. 600 texts on farm stock. So you think they would have caught it by now with big bait cages and stuff, though. They probably did, and they probably kept it quiet, right? So they don't get them anymore. And better check on the side again. You reckon it's great? I reckon it's pretty bad because I could do a lot better. I'm pretty perfectionist, really. You have to go, good night. Okay, that's probably dropped off. So we're back to no mods again. Like I said, we almost finished this book, so we almost got there. So we're going to wrap up in a minute. And we got another half a book to go from 30 onwards, you know. So we ain't done too bad. Almost got 6 done. We'll get there. But yes, why can't I focus on that now? What's going on? Oh right, I forgot that I had that one. Come on, mouse, wake up. So what do we got here? Understanding ghosts. The troubled spirits of dead, phantom animals, all been called ghosts, hauntings. So we've got the opposite now. We've got writing on black. That's not too bad though, is it? Sort of comes out alright. So where's all the ghost pictures? Have we got one here? Let's have a look. So far the ones we've seen have been fakes. They omitted them. Okay, what have we got? We've got blobs. I reckon these are going to be fakes. See, what's it saying here? Got double letters going. The figure was later identified that of Lord Combe himself, but at the time the photograph was taken, he was being buried at a few miles away. Okay. Let's have a look. So where is he meant to be? Any ideas? Where do we see him? Can you see him? Yeah, they don't circle in the book. Is that him there on the couch? Looks like he's got glasses and a beard on. Is he transparent? If that's a photograph, it's pretty bad, isn't it? So I thought these were the apparitions, because that looks like an apparition there in a chair. How could you identify that as someone? It's just a blur. That could be done by putting a mirror there, right? And causing an overexposure of light backwards at the camera lens. And it looks like something in a chair there too, doesn't it? So I don't know what I'm meant to be looking at. So it's a plate, photographic plate. See the shape of an elderly gentleman sitting in the chair on the left. So again, going back to the picture, it does look like a gentleman sitting there, doesn't it? And that's definitely on the left, and that's on the right. But what's these big bright blobs then? Was that natural? Or were they not formed ghosts, maybe? So it doesn't talk about those blobs. Anyway, keep on going. We got a ghost in that one. I can't quite see. Is there something at the back there? Get in focus. Might be too close to the book. Can't see anything. Okay, where's the caption for it? Place centre ghosts. The vicar's stripping attachment to the church could have led to a record of his image being imprinted upon it. I don't see any priests, but we'll have a look again. Let's just up on this one. And it looks like a wartime scene. Okay, what have we got? Photograph, church architecture, took the picture. Gleaning woman were the only other person present, but the ghostly form of a vicar somehow appeared on the film. Hey guys, let's see if we can find a vicar. Okay, so what do we got here? Oh right, there he is. Oh, that's creepy. Looks like he's stretched across the stalls. So that means he's going to be sitting right in front of him. And he's transparent. But that probably could be done with a camera trick. And this can prove beyond doubt that he wasn't alive at that time. I suppose you got to take the word off the person taking the photograph. So let's keep on going. Finish off this last magazine. It's taken quite a long time, 3 hours to get there. Anything useful there? What's that one? See if I can get focused on it. The Ghost That Grew and Grew. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. They're saying the story kept growing, you know, people kept embellishing it probably. Factual article. That's why a lot of these TV shows, they go and get some researchers right. And check out the stories, the history of the place to see if it matches up with the stories. Which makes perfect sense. What's that one there? Looks like a satellite. What's that talking about? Ghost photographs often show images unseen by human eye. As film is inherently more sensitive to certain light frequencies, the difference is rather like between a picture shot with a standard film and one taken infrared. Okay, so this shows us an example of Australia. Regular light and infrared. And that's water in the middle there, I think. A pond. Dirty water. Yes, we know about the cameras, and their eyes have limited wavelengths to see everything. So it's possible that something was sitting in front of her in that church that you can't see with your normal eyes, but the camera could. Oh look, we got Men in Black again. Men in Black. Great deal of attention to threaten UFO witnesses in 1950s. A sinister black-clad figure is centuries old. Yeah, this Redfern has pointed out too, hasn't he? So it's talking about religious stuff here. About Men in Black. Not too sure if I'm interested. So could they be interdimensionals? And, well, from different universes, of course. And they could be visiting Earth or breakthroughs happen back in centuries ago. And they popped through just to make sure there was no damage left behind. Yeah, you don't know when they visit people whether they've got some instruments in them, check for bacteria, and possibly any attachments, of course. When you talk about ghosts, paranormal, if it's like a real creature that can sort of jump your body and take it over, that's why they probably visit, maybe. Paranormal and UFOs are closely linked. What are we talking about here? A UFO sighting. Is that the boat guys on a boat? I'm not sure. Not sure what one. So might be another good one to scan in. There's quite a lot in these this collection of magazines. Have we heard that story? Fantastic green standard beneath our window. Metallic green standard beneath the window. What's that mean? Forces of evil. To do with Men in Black. So that sounds almost paranormal. So I don't think we've heard this case before, have we? Trying to see if I can recognise the names. Black tie, black appearance. Gurgi Pointitas case. An accident will happen to you. Maybe a search it online before we go. What's that? Latest technology. Buy one. Yours up and down at a touch of a button. So what they're trying to sell here? Only £20. Physical cycles. Extensive research has proved biorhythm cycles. Ah, there you go. Only £20. What's it used for though? What can you do with it? You can key someone else's birthday into, maybe I can get there by rhythm. Yeah, but what can you do with it? So we need to do some research on that. So research on these guys and also by rhythms. I've got to see if I can lean across to it. Bio rhythms. Bio rhythm. Looks like it. Pseudoscience. Idea that our daily lives are significantly affected by rhythmic cycles with periods of exactly 23, 28 and 33 days, typically a 23 physical cycle, a 28 emotional cycle, and a 33-day intellectual cycle. There we go, biorhythm calculator. How do you work out your biorhythm? Some calculations, of course. Date of your birth, time zone. Repetitive cycle. Studied in the science of chronology. Okay, let's see what that one says. According to the theory of biorhythms, a person's life is influenced cycles, yeah. But how can you control it? What's the point of it? Hormonal and chemical, zonal behavior. If each of this cycle varies between high and low. Yeah, but still, what do you mean to do with it? There is no particular meaning to a day on which your rhythms are all high, except the obvious benefits of hindrances that these rare extremes are thought to have. Have been proposed based on blah 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 calculations. Here we go. There's that calculator in the book. 40 years ago. I wonder if it's banned now. I wonder if you can still get them. Tshirt and critical views. Dozens published studies of biorhythm theory, but according to study, all of those either supported the null hypothesis that there is no correlation of human experience and the supposed biorhythms beyond what can be explained by consequences. Supporters continued to defend the theory in spite of the lack of correlating science evidence. Found the study in 134, the theory is not valid. 1998. Yeah, but still, what can you do with it? So I'm still a wee bit confused. Like, if you got a low bio reading, what they're trying to tell you, not to go to work that day, or what? I don't know. Biorhythm. What's the point? That's the guts of it. Human lives move in predictable undulations. Ugh. No, they reckon. Based on 100% accurate. Yeah. Unlike human revelations that can only be half true. I still don't understand. What is the most important? Can you change your biorhythms? No. Jet lag. Being consistent with your new routine, your body clock. Controlled by the daily cycles of light and darkness. Sounds pretty evil. Oh yeah, good night. Dan, I thought you had gone already. Yeah, biorhythms. Yeah, if someone can explain that more to me, go ahead. Jet lag, you can sort that out by sleeping and go in bed at the local time zone, right? Times to what your regular times were, so your body recalibrates. But I can't see how that works with this nonsense. Was there one about changing it? It's talking about reschedule, re-establish your schedule for jet lag. Yes, that's the obvious one. And that's it. So maybe JD, you need this one. Should I pull an all-nighter to fix my sleep schedule? How long does it take to change your sleep schedule? It takes 1 day per time zone. Duh. Anyway, enough on that one. My voice is going, which means I need lubrication. Called a drink. What's these guys' names again? Can I memorise that to spell it? Perrier. That's something strange happened then. The light faded, like someone walked past. So what are we looking at? Frederick. That's not what it's called though. What was it called again? UFO incident, something UFO incident. Pontiac or something, wasn't it? There we go. AU 103. 3 people concerned in the. So, how do we spell that? Pont. So it's G. Let's see what comes up in a search. Pontos. Okay, so let's see what comes up. There we go, hoax. Anyway, so alien abduction. Let's have a look what that says. The events that constituted what is now termed the Gurji Pontos hoax began as a report of a UFO abduction and climaxed with one of the spectators at the abduction challenging messages from extraterrestrials, whom he claimed were involved in the taking of his friend. On the morning of November 26, 1979, Jean Pierre Perifros of the Paris suburb of Pointe Puntos. I'm not sure how you say that. Puntos. Called the police to report that his friend Frank Fontaine had been abducted by aliens. According to the story, the pair, along with 2 other men, were preparing to drive to a nearby town to sell clothes. At an open-air market, Fontaine, their driver, sat inside the car while the others were to gather their stock. A UFO appeared and Fontaine was taken from the car. As the man watched, it sped away in the sky. Fontaine reappeared a week later. He claimed to remember little of what had happened. Sounds like Travis Walton. Old Travis story going, and also it sounds very similar to some other cases, doesn't it? Travis, and who was the other one? There's a few others out there. Woke up in the cabbage field. After 14 reappeared, the police investigation on this testified, and the group of the Fominans Aerospace, blah blah blah, main UFO investigation organization, joined the search for the truth. After interviewing the principals several times and looking for any corroborating evidence, Japan concluded that the incident was without any value. All these frauds and hoaxes, I don't know. A kind way of saying that they had concluded that there was a hoax. As the story continued to unfold, flying saucer enthusiasts Jimmy published a book-length account of the story entitled in French Contacts. UFO. Okay. Convinced of the truth of the story, contended that the target of UFOs was not Fontaine, but Prevost, who had begun to channel messages from the abductor, who referred to as intelligence from beyond. Shortly therefore, Prevost published a book, The Great Contact, to make some money. They centered upon the messages he had received primarily from one Harold EO. So it could be like some other name from a different country other than France, right? Which make it a bit more credible about the deteriorating state of Earth life. So why could it be contacted from some made-up name like Squishy Bar? But it had to be someone that sounded like Italian. He went on to found a publishing house and gathered the following people, attracted the message. It goes on a bit, doesn't it? 1983, finally confessed to the hoax. So after he made all his money. He didn't get the cult following like Billy Meyer did. Damn. So what happened? He confided to a French reporter that he had organised the event and hid Fontaine in a friend's apartment for the week of the supposed abduction. His motivation was the attempt to attract attention to his channeled messages and assist to build a modern religion based on extraterrestrials. There you go, he wanted to make a cult like Billy Meyer. Except for Billy Meyer managed to keep it going. Interestingly enough, Euro refused to accept Prefro's story. He had come to know others who received messages from the same guy. No. They're all crackpots. You gotta remember there's crackpots out there. Attention seekers. So that's what's in the book. So we managed to find a story there we've never heard of before. I don't think we've covered that one with Robert. So did it say in this 40-year-old book? I don't think so. I think it's... Did it say it was a hoax? It doesn't go up to 1978, does it? On further reading there. So it looks like it's just before the confession. The sinister Men in Black. So that Men in Black story's got to be false then. With that story. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there now. I think that was quite good. And we got halfway through another folder almost, apart from one book. But that'll do for now. Carry on another day. Yeah, I'll post it down. And I'm not sure if I'll do another show tomorrow, but there is some garbage put up by Third Phase, which I've posted around Twitter if you're interested. But I will add it to the next Debunk Live. I should have had it listed there actually. I'll do that after. And we got Robert coming up on Sunday. Your Sunday. My Monday. So until there, take care on the roads everybody, and we'll catch you again next live show anyway. We had a few people drop in and out, but no one's really interested in what we were reading there for some reason. Don't like looking at pictures and books. And we saw some ghost photos. Yeah, the computer's getting pretty good at that as well. It's quite interesting. I'll leave it there. Good night all.